What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Saturday, September 6th, day number 61 inside the Big Brother house. We have lots of questions, just as many answers for you now. Who won HoH? What is the White Locust? Who has been eliminated? Who are the nominees? It's a month of mayhem from the mastermind. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video, you'll never miss a stream. Speaking of, we were live on Friday for our Friday morning live update. Those are always my favorite ones of the week. We go live with you guys in the chat after our normal update, and we didn't have much for you. If we're being honest, there were no feeds. We were hoping that we would get them at some point yesterday, but it wasn't for a very, very long time. To give you a little bit of a recap, though, if you haven't been keeping up with everything that was going on, Keanu, the world's second most famous Keanu, the D&D Dungeon Master, the Veto King, the Delusional Duke, the Call of Kettlebells. He won the HoH competition. He went on to nominate Morgan, Mickey, and Vince. Morgan, though, won the power of veto, and despite the hugs of temptation to save Vince, she used the veto on herself. Ashley was put up as the replacement nominee, which led to the Blockbuster. Vince pulled off the win in that, just beating out Mickey just barely. And then Mickey was shocked to be evicted 6-1 with that one vote coming from Vince. We also had a good old shout out from Kelly and the Go Birds. I'm going to take that as just a Ori shout out than even just an Eagle shout out. That was Kelly doing a little wink nod to me. That's how I'm going to choose to believe it. But that takes us to the start of jury with our final 9. Julie then left us with a couple of little tidbits of info that we weren't going to be having an episode on Sunday. Tuesday would be the next episode, and it would be a special elimination episode. We also had the mastermind coming on, talking about a month of mayhem. We had this whole White Locust resort that somebody would be checking in, that somebody would not be checking out of. And there was also no mention of the Blockbuster ending, which we now can confirm. Blockbuster is still active. The rumors of that are not false. It is still in the game as of right now. When we go and talk about the nominees, there are 3 nominees. I have a lot of thoughts about this. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but we'll get to that because it goes even deeper with some of the next things that we're going to end up talking about here. Now, like I said, feeds were down pretty much all day, and then we found out that it was eventually going to come back after BB Unlocked, after the West Coast airing of BB Unlocked, which we saw some things on there, like the rogue vote from Vince already started to have people starting to wonder who that was. Was it Kelly? Was it Will? Who did this weird rogue vote? And they did also show off the backyard, which was fully transformed into a White Locust resort. We had Tyler from BB20, who is the hotel manager. He had like this taser. He was tasering Derek and Lance Bass and Taylor. So it was a whole thing. But basically, the whole idea, it's set up almost very similarly to how Janky World was, but not as a carnival, but as this kind of like fancy resort. Where there's almost like this like stage facade set up in the backyard. Now, I will say when the feeds eventually came back, because after the BB Unlocked episode, when the feeds came back, this was all gone. So all this White Locust resort stuff, this all took place within, one day, potentially even just 3 hours after the eviction took place. This was all done and taking place. And then the HoH comp was taking place just after that. So there's a lot. There's a lot that we have to go over here because we found out a lot. So there were rumors. There were rumors of a chain of safety comp sort of a situation. Anybody who watched Reindeer Games, there was a little competition. I'm going to bring up a picture here where they had this hamster wheel on a puzzle. And basically how this worked was you would get in this hamster wheel, you would turn the wheel and try and get the ball to go into the puzzle. But you had a limited amount of time. You had a time that you had to beat. You would then beat your time. If you were able to beat that, you would then choose the next person to go and try and do the hamster wheel. Now, there's a little bit of a game within a game here because you do want to give your allies as much time as possible. Then you would want to put up somebody who you would want to eliminate with a little amount of time to go up next. Hopefully, they're not able to beat that time because then they're eliminated. I believe, I'm not 100% on this. I'm pretty sure you don't even have to go in this competition, right? Like there's a possibility where you don't even have to play, and we're going to get into that on how I think the order of this competition went for this season. So to kind of reiterate here, you've got this hamster wheel. It's got a puzzle on it. You rotate the wheel, the ball goes in the hole, you solve the maze, you hit the button, you lock in your time. You then pick somebody to go next. If they're able to survive and beat that time, they then go and give the next person a chance, and who then has less time, and so on until somebody cannot finish the puzzle in the amount of time allotted. So here's the thing. This is all true, and I don't 100% know the full order. There's a possibility that some people didn't play, like I said, but from what I was able to gather, this is where things start to get a little bit crazy. Ava, at some point during the competition, whether she was first, I think she might have been the first one to lead things off. Ava picked Vince to go. Vince was able to do the maze. He then picked Lauren to go over Morgan. And I believe the whole idea here is Vince is going to try and say, well, I wanted to, pick Lauren because it's more of a risk. And I knew that she would then pick you, but it's not going to work like that. Vince is in trouble here for picking Lauren over Morgan. He is in trouble. Morgan is not happy about this situation. Now, this is where things get a little bit sketchy. I don't 100% know the order from here. Did Lauren then go and pick Morgan next? I'm not 100% sure on that. And then from there, did Morgan then pick Rachel? One of the things Vince said was that Rachel went fourth in the competition, and that she wanted to go as soon as she possibly could. And I guess there was an expectation from some people that Vince would have chose Rachel to go in the competition next, and then they could do all the judges, but instead he chose Lauren to go next. And this is where everything gets messed up, because I have very sad news, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a Rachel stan, Rachel is gone. Rachel was eliminated from the game all through a twist. There was no vote. There was no HoH. There was no nominations. There was no veto ceremony. It was just a reindeer game competition, chain of safety, and then the person left. And that was it. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna be honest. Listen, and it could have happened to anybody, right? It doesn't necessarily matter that it happened to Rachel. It could have happened to any one of these house guests, and I would have felt just as bad for them. This feels like a gut punch. This should not be how you are eliminated from Big Brother. Now, here's the other thing. We don't 100% know what the deal is, right? Maybe Rachel was sacrificed, but the twist is she's not actually sacrificed. She's going to be the HoH heading into some triple eviction here that we're going to get on Thursday. We don't know. We just don't know the answers to that, right? Maybe even Tuesday ends up being some crazy twist where this all gets revealed. We don't 100% know all the answers. All we know right now is Rachel is not in the house, and everybody assumes she was sacrificed. Yes, sacrificed was how they were describing it, because there was like faces that appeared on the screen. They said it was going to be really good TV. Will was like, listen, I'm never going to watch it. I'm never going to watch it, but it's going to be good TV. I'll tell you that. So Rachel is gone from the game at this moment. She is not in the house. She could be doing something else. Maybe that's wishful thinking. But it feels like a huge gut punch for anyone to be eliminated from the game with no vote, no HoH, no nomination, no Blockbuster, which Blockbuster still is in the game. There's so many chances to save yourself in this game nowadays with all these competitions. And it is mind-boggling to me that we would still have this now. People loved reindeer games. Guess what? Now you're getting it into the regular show. And I told you guys, like, hey, reindeer games, kind of fun, but also not my bag, right? Like I'd rather regular Big Brother. Everybody praised reindeer games. I was not one of them. I barely even covered it on this channel. I really didn't have much interest in it. It's just the challenge, and they used the houses as a stage. Same thing with the AI arena and the Blockbuster, right? Everybody said it makes the game better, Ori. It makes it better. I feel like at this point it is just the challenge. We are not watching Big Brother anymore. There's no more strategy. There's no more social manipulation. It's all about which competitions you can win. And it feels like at this point, like what are we doing? We're taking so much away from the game. Big Brother always had this kind of an idea where the beginning half of the game was all about your social positioning, your strategy, your relationships that you build within that house. And then the second part of the game was all about the competitions. And that's when they became really important. And you needed to win the right ones at the right moment. Winning, for example, the final four HOH or veto is a huge opportunity because you get 2 shots to save yourself before the final 3. Having power in the final 3 HOH and being able to decide who sits next to you is such a huge opportunity as well. You don't need it, but those are things that it can help you get the win in the end. So now we've made it where competitions matter the whole game, right? Because now Blockbuster is a huge factor in the game. And I think, yeah, there are some benefits that it brought, right? It seems like maybe big, large alliances are harder to form because of Blockbuster. But if you keep extending it further and further into the game, now at what point is it just a competition show and it's no longer the Big Brother that we know? It fundamentally changes what it becomes into. And this is what I've been talking about. And I'm going on an Ori rant now of why I didn't like Blockbuster, why I don't like now reindeer games coming into the regular show. And it is a thing. And I think a lot of people are all feeling this way. And I don't know. Let me know if you're feeling differently. Maybe you guys are super excited that Rachel is gone. And I hear you on that too, because it really does change the whole dynamic of the rest of the game. Her being removed from the board completely flips everything over. We're going to check out our allegiance chart here in just a little bit of how things are all playing out, who's connected to who, and where things are kind of standing. It is a major, big shakeup to the game, but I don't love how it happened for her. And like I said, it could have been anybody, right? I think one of the big things you always got to remember, and this goes for anything, when you think of a situation, you can't just think of how it affects somebody that you would like or somebody that you don't like and how it makes you feel. You have to think of both ends, right? How would you feel if your favorite player ever had this happen to them? How would you feel if your least favorite player ever had this happen to them? If either one of them is not good, that doesn't make this fun anymore, does it? Right? And that's how you have to kind of think about this. Whether you loved Rachel or you hated Rachel, this feels like a gut punch to the player that got taken out this way. It could have been Vince. It could have been Morgan. It could have been Keanu, whoever it was, Ava, Ashley, Kelly, Lauren, Will. I would have felt bad for them to be taken out of the game this way. Moving on though, because we've got more stuff to cover. We've got, I know, I feel like we've already been talking now for however long. This might be a long one, but we've got more stuff to get into. Like I said, Will, Ava, Kelly, and Ashley, they were all kind of talking about everything that went on. Will was talking about how it was a sacrifice. It was really good TV. One of the interesting things, though, was because the feeds had been down for so long, Kelly was actually saying her theory is that the feeds are down right now because they're trying to hide the info about Rachel. And then I think it was Ava who said, imagine if the feeds were actually on and we were talking about it right now like we are, which they are on. So kind of a funny little moment. Keanu, he was kind of staring at the memory wall, just kind of almost in disbelief still. And he was actually saying to himself, like, I can't believe you're gone. It was supposed to be you and me in the final 2. Like we were supposed to go to the end and now you're not here. It's like, what am I doing? That also takes us, because we found out HOH took place. Who is the new HOH? Because we not only have HOH, we have nominees. There was an HOH competition. I don't know exactly what the competition was, whether or not it related to the actual order of when people went. If the highest or the lowest, fastest time was actually the winner, right? It might have actually been Lauren who had that best time. I'm not 100% sure because it was Lauren who won the HoH. She is in control this week. And like I said, Blockbuster is still in place. So she now has to name 3 nominees this week into jury. We're still doing the Blockbuster, and her 3 nominees were Ashley, Will, and Morgan. Morgan was crying. Vince was actually kind of consoling her, kind of giving her little rubs in the bedroom when the feeds came back. She also, like I said, is very upset at Vince for not choosing her in the competition. We ended up getting Ava and Lauren having a little bit of a chat, kind of talking about where things are. And this is where we actually did get some of the information that we know about how everything went with Rachel and HoH and how things are kind of sitting right now. And they were talking about how they were kind of hoping things would switch back to regular Big Brother, but instead, and again, not just us out here are thinking it, them in the house guests themselves are feeling this way. Because one of the things that Ava and Lauren started talking about, where they were saying, it feels like I signed up for the effing challenge. This is a competition show now, right? It's no longer Big Brother with the social manipulation, right? And the lying. It's all about what competitions you can win. And that's what we really are playing now. Lauren talks about how she wants to either see Keanu or Morgan end up leaving this week. So Keanu would potentially be her replacement nominee. We have seen kind of Lauren and Kelly get a little bit of a closer relationship. We already know about the relationship that Vince and Lauren has. And then obviously Lauren and Ava have a pretty good relationship. There's not really many other options right now. And with the Blockbuster, she already has 3 nominees up. So Keanu would have to be her replacement. And I guess if you can't get Morgan out, getting a competition beast like Keanu out at this point would be really important since Blockbuster is still in play. One of the other things they started talking about was Ava was talking about how Vince and how he was playing and how everything went down with Rachel and how this all pick went down. And she actually said that before the competition, Vince had told Ava that he was going to target Keanu, but she knows that isn't true and that she's seen them, chatting and talking together. So, like, why? Like, he's lying to me there. So, once again, Ava really not trusting in Vince, but she is trusting in Lauren a little bit, or at the very least, open to trust in the Lauren a little bit and pull her over to her side. We saw her having this conversation with her just the other night as well when Vince made his pitch to Ava, and it really soured Ava even more on Vince, feeling that she can't trust him. Ava also said she doesn't regret not picking Rachel first in the safety chain competition as well. But she also was crying. She was really getting kind of emotional when she was talking about this and just everything that happened over the past 24 hours. So I don't know. I feel like maybe Ava does actually regret not picking Rachel first, and that because of her decisions, in a way, it did end up leading to Rachel leaving and being the first juror this season. And like I said, this is also where we found out about Vince, who passed the safety or the chance at safety on to Lauren instead of Morgan, which again upset Morgan. Morgan is not happy with Vince. And Lauren also ended up telling Ava, like, oh yeah, he did that because he owed me, right? I saved him with the veto. It got my best friend evicted eventually. Like, yeah, he 100% owed me with this. That's why he ended up choosing me. And one of the things is as well is apparently Vince is kind of putting a little bit of a target on Morgan's back because he was telling Lauren that Morgan knew about the plan to use the veto on Vince last week, and that would end up getting Lauren put up as the replacement nominee with Keanu. So, like, Vince has been sowing those seeds with Lauren and Morgan. He's been trying to make them kind of fight and go after each other for a long time. But Lauren is a little bit aware of that, but also is not someone who is really trusting in Morgan as at the moment. Like I said, with Vince, he was trying to comfort Lauren or comfort Morgan. Morgan was talking to Ashley about how upset she is with Vince for not choosing her and choosing Lauren over her. But Vince was basically begging Morgan for forgiveness. Please, please forgive me. Oh, please. You know how Vince is. But Vince kind of continuing to tell Morgan, like, listen, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I messed everything up. Vince even had told Will, like, as well. He's like, man, I just can't believe sometimes you feel like you're throwing a pebble in the pond and it has all these ripple effects going forward, all of just over your little decisions. Vince also ended up telling Morgan that Rachel is rooting for Keanu because that was the last person she hugged before she left the house. And then we also had Ava and Vince kind of chatting late into the night about everything going on. They were talking about the month of mayhem, and Ava's like, "Yeah, this is the month can kiss my ass." And once again, Ava was really talking about how the show that she signed up for was Big Brother, and it feels like the show that she's playing is the challenge. All of these competitions are really controlling everything. One of the other really interesting little tidbits that I have for you, Morgan and Ashley, they, like I said, were having conversations. They were talking about, Morgan not being happy with Vince. One of the things they were talking about was at this point, they would not see it being a hard decision that if Keanu were making it to the end, they could see themselves voting for him to win. So, like I said, Rachel leaving the game, I think, is going to be a huge game changer for the whole landscape of this. We were kind of talking during our live streams about like how Keanu he would have to like win out on a lot of competitions to make it to the end. And I think that is still true. And with the blockbuster still going, he has more even greater shot to get there now. And I feel like Rachel is going to really be pushing him in the jury as somebody who should win. So he's going to have a target on his back. But if he can get there, I think there's a lot of people who are going to be willing to want to vote for Keanu as the winner. Now, let's take a look here at our allegiance chart just to get a kind of an idea of how the house is laid out as far as sides go. I think I still have Will kind of in that best spot for the moment. Only because I think there's a lot of people that still really like him. They're not going to be really targeting him. I think he's got the best shot to stay against most people in the house right now because they would just kind of want to keep him around. And it also is kind of a thing where I don't think they're that threatened by him as well. Over on each of the bottom sides, I kind of have Ashley and Kelly kind of as the two being on the bottom of their sides of the house, even though I think Morgan has a little less sway with Will, right? Like Ashley has a closer relationship with Will. I think Morgan's in this better spot overall with her relationship with Vince, though I guess, Morgan probably should even come down. Like I said, her and Lauren are really going at it right now, but because Vince is trying to keep them on each side of each other, I think Morgan still would have a good chance of staying. But with Ashley not being as good at competitions and with Blockbuster still going around, I think Morgan's going to have a really tough time of trying to convince people to keep her around because she would be better at competitions than someone like Ashley. And why wouldn't you want to get rid of a competitor like Morgan right now than get rid of somebody like Ashley who only has one veto to her name, whereas Morgan, I believe, has two vetoes now to her name. I might be wrong on that. I might be wrong on that. I'm just making stuff up right now. These are Ori stats. But still, I feel like Morgan has a little bit more of, especially a physical competition threat than it would be to Ashley. And most of the people who are looking at who they would need to take out right now are the people that would have advantages in physical competitions. So you would want to make sure that you would have even more of an advantage in those kind of competitions going forward as well. And we've seen now too a lot of these later stage competitions are things that might have memory involved with them, with dates and when competitions took place, who was evicted this day, things like that. But there usually is maybe just a little bit of physicalness to it, whether they got to go across zip lines or climb up a rock wall or whatever it might be on where they have to lock in their answers. There usually is a little bit more physicality involved. I would rather face off against somebody like Ashley than I would rather face off against someone like Morgan. So that's why I think she would have a really difficult time staying if she doesn't win Blockbuster or the veto this week. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out here. Tuesday's going to have to give us a lot more information. I'm sure even today on the feeds as well, we'll get more information as they talk about everything that kind of took place over the past day here. I've got feelings. I've got a lot of feelings about how all this went down. Like I said, I'm not happy to see anybody get taken out of the game this way. I think it's one of the things that just isn't in the spirit of Big Brother. On top of that, it's been kind of having this trend of more competitions. And it's interesting because people were really complaining when Jag won, and they were really upset where all the competitions weren't equitable, and they thought that it was just way too many competitions and it wasn't fair to everybody in the house. How do you feel now after we, talked about Blockbuster and AI Arena, and I told you guys how you complained about competitions, but then you loved those competitions because you liked who was winning those competitions and it made them fun. And I'm not talking to everybody. I'm just saying the loud minority who are really the ones that kind of caused all this to happen. That's what happens with every situation, right? A loud minority of people will really love something and they'll really be passionate about it. And I'm so happy that you have something that you were passionate about. But what ended up happening is now we have these competitions that are overrunning the game and really changing what it is at the end of the day. It really stinks that Rachel would be taken out with no vote because that is not Big Brother. It's also why people who tried to say, oh, Nicole, she's a two-time winner because she run reindeer games. No, reindeer games is not Big Brother. But now at this point, maybe we should just consider it Big Brother because that seems to be the direction they're kind of heading in here a little bit. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about everything that's going on, about Rachel being evicted, eliminated. It wasn't even evicted from the game. Lauren winning HoH, Ashley, Morgan, Will being the nominees. This is our final 8 right here. I still think there is a lot of fun that can happen the rest of the season. I think there's still a really interesting end game that can take place. I was really excited about how quickly everything was going to be going on here, but just the way everything was handled, the way this all went down, it really does feel like it did take a little bit of the wind out of the sails for the season, but we do only have now a month left. So let's ride on into this sunset here and give it the best it can and just try and have some fun with the end of this game. Thank you guys all again so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you made it all the way to the end of this video with all of the rambling that I did through this video, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. We do daily live feed updates here all season long, first thing in the morning. Thank you guys all again for all the love and support you guys show me here on this channel. Check out the links to all my socials in the pinned comment description down below. You can check out things like Twitter and the Discord. The Discord's been an awesome place where you can find other like-minded Big Brother fans, but you can also talk about Survivor, The Amazing Race. We've got places where you can post pictures of your pets. It's just an awesome little community that we've built over on Discord, so make sure you go check that out. Thank you guys all again so much, and I will see you next time.